Then we have insect hormones, because not on hormones don't just work within your body only, within mammals. Also invertebrates do have hormones. Okay? They do have hormones that control their physiology. Okay? And most of them is metamorphosis. So let's talk about insects. Okay? Let's talk about insect hormones, and we see how these hormones interact to bring about metamorphosis. Okay? Metamorphosis. This word used to give me hardships in my P3. So metamorphosis means molting from one larva stage to another stage. Okay? So in insects, molting and development are controlled by three main hormones. Okay? So for you to see a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, how is it controlled? Does it happen from blue? Is it just boom? No, it is there are these hormones that do interact to bring about the changes, both observable changes and non-observable changes. And these hormones include, number one, we have the brain hormone. Now in some book, they might call this prothoracic tropic hormone. So if you've been attending lessons, you must be knowing prothoracic tropic hormone or trophic hormone. Now, prothoracic, this is a gland. Okay? Tropic, a hormone that targets another gland hormone. So this brain hormone, it targets this gland. Okay? And so when you target this gland, what happens? You stimulate this prothoracic gland, okay, to produce ecdysone or ecdysone. Okay? Or you can call it the moulting hormone. They are all the same thing. Now, it is produced by the neurosecretory cells. Now, these ones, they are found in the brain of the insect. Okay? And so when they are produced, they will travel. They will first be stored in the corpus caerdiaca temporarily until when the right stimulus comes, the right time comes. And so after the right time, it will be released and it will travel to the prothoracic gland, where it will stimulate this gland to release this molting hormone. Okay? And so what happens when you release this ecdysone? This hormone promotes molting and development to adult characteristics. Okay? Ecdysone. It comes from ecdysis. And ecdysis means shedding off of the cuticle. Shedding off. Ecdysis. So this hormone promotes shedding off of the cuticle. Is that okay? Then finally, the third hormone is called the juvenile hormone. Now this juvenile hormone, don't make life hard. Don't make life hard. Juvenile, someone, youthful age, a juvenile. So this one promotes retention of the youthful age. And in this case, they are the larval characteristics. So in other words, this one inhibits molting, but this one stimulates molting. This one stimulates the release of this, and this one promotes molting, whereas this one inhibits molting and promotes the retention of the larval stages. Now, in your mind, you should be able to draw a mind map, which shows the relationship between these three hormones. It should be in your mind right now. Yes. Now that mind map that you have drawn is actually the relationship between these three hormones, which bring about the so-called metamorphosis. There are these three hormones that are going to interact to bring about insect metamorphosis. Is that okay? So in your mind right now, you should be thinking of how they are going to interact. It should be in your mind. I'm sure. Think about this. This one stimulates the release of ecdysone. And ecdysone promotes ecdysis or moulting and development to adult characteristics. But this one, the juvenile hormone, promotes retention of the larval stages. So how are they going to interact? That's pretty good. So let's see how these hormones do interact. So briefly, this is like a summary or a pathway, okay, of control of molting in insects. So these are the neurosecretory cells, okay, in the insect's tiny brain, okay, that will secrete our brain hormone, this one, or you can call it the prothoracic tropic hormone, this one. Now when this hormone is secreted, it is temporarily stored in this corpus caduceum, okay. It will be temporarily stored there. Now we have another, let me say, another gland called the corpus allatum. If it's one, it's allatum. If there are many, then it's allata. Okay, you just remove this is a corpus allata if there are many. Now this corpus allatum is responsible to produce or to secrete the juvenile hormone. Okay, I hope we are following. We said the neurosecretory cells, these ones, they do produce, they do secrete the brain hormone. And when the brain hormone is secreted, it will be temporarily stored in the corpus caduceum. Now in the corpus caduceum, just below the corpus caduceum is another gland, the corpus allata, or the corpus allatum if it is one, and this one is responsible for release of juvenile hormone. Is that okay? Now the brain hormone, it's because it is a tropic hormone. Tropic induces the other gland to release a hormone. It stimulates a gland. In other words, its target organ is a gland. And when it reaches there, it induces the release of another hormone. So this brain hormone being a tropic hormone, its target gland is this, the prothoracic gland. Is that okay? And what does it do? It stimulates this prothoracic gland to release another hormone called ecdysone hormone, or ecdysone, or you can call it the moulting hormone. Okay? Now, that is a good preview. Now, what happens is, the first step is the neurosecretory cells. Let me change a pen here. The neurosecretory, now, they do respond to, it could be temperature, it could be environment, it could be change in day length, okay? In other words, the stimulus is external. You remember when we studied photomorphogenesis? Yes. So that's how diet affects the growth and development of different organisms. So even here, these brain cells, they will be stimulated by a change in day length, or it could be change in habitat, or it could be change in temperature, depending on the stimulus. Okay, and so when they are stimulated, then they are going to release this hormone, the brain hormone. Okay, and this hormone, it will be temporarily stored in the corpus caduceum. If it is one, it is caduceum. Okay, until when the right time comes to be released. Okay, now what the second step is, when the right time comes, then this brain hormone, it is going to be released from the corpus caudicum, and it will saturate into the prothoracic gland. And so what happens when it reaches there? The brain hormone signals its main target, which is the prothoracic gland, okay, to produce another hormone, which is ecdysone. Now, in young insects, in these early stages, they will have more of juvenile hormone. Okay, so you will have a high concentration of juvenile hormone. And we have said that this juvenile hormone, it maintains the larval stages, the larval characteristics. So if you have more of juvenile hormone, okay, then you will, even if you are shedding, you will just shed from an early larva to another larval stages. Okay, that's brilliant. Now, when these prothoracic glands are stimulated, the release of this ecdysone hormone, it's episodic. It is episodic. Where is it? Yeah, it is here. Ecdysone secretion from the prothoracic gland is episodic. What does that mean? You know, you watch series, you know episodes. There is season 1, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. You first watch episode 1, then you go to... So that's how it is. You release, and then the next time you release, but relatively high concentration compared to what you release. Then you also release. Then you also release. Then you finally release. Okay? This moulting hormone. Now, basing on the relative concentration of these hormones, these two hormones, the juvenile, which promotes the larval stages, the larval characteristics to be maintained, and the moulting, which promotes ecdysis, the moulting, the shedding off of the cuticle, to form another stage. So basing on the concentration, the relative concentration of these two hormones, then it will determine a given metamorphosis, changing from one stage to another stage. So you can see, let me first do the cleaning. You might not see that well. At relatively high concentration of juvenile hormone, the ecdysone, okay, ecdysone stimulated moulting produces another larval stage. So juvenile hormone suppresses metamorphosis. I almost talked about this. I hate reading for students. I almost talked about this. That yes, you produce some moulting hormone, but in larval stages, you will have more of juvenile hormone. So still the juvenile hormone will suppress, okay, the moulting. That even if this larva sheds off the cuticle, it will shed off and it will retain its larval characteristics. So it will be from the early larva, like how you're seeing, to molt into another larval stages. Okay? But when the levels of juvenile hormone fall below a certain concentration, then the pupa at the next ecdysone induces molting, and the adult emerges from the pupa. So it is as simple as that. So the relative concentration determines what is going to happen. If juvenile is high, then you molt from one larval stage to another larval stage. If the concentration is relative, the same, then you will molt from one larval stage to another pupa stage. But if ecdysone is high, if molting hormone is high, then automatically the pupa will shed or will molt and turn into an adult. Okay? And so basically that's how these hormones will interact to bring about molting.